Please confirm that you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, sir, you can see it. I can see it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is day 3, operators and expression. This is what we are going to be looking at. So in this session, you are going to be able to identify. Actually, in the last class, we wrote simple Python programs. We declared and used variables. We worked with types. We collected data from user inputs. Okay, so in this class, we'll learn how to perform operations on the data we've collected using different operators and expressions. Right. This is because operators form the core computation. In other words, they enable Python to perform arithmetic, comparison, and logical reasoning. Whatever you want to do, you are going to do that using operators, and they mimic real life situations, real life things that we can do. Okay, so at the base of this language, you will find operators in different areas, different kinds of operators. That's what we are going to be looking at. So it is important that you understand these things, because when you will begin to be tying objects to things that such objects do, you at the base of it will still be the operations that they perform, things that they are able to do. And that's just the manipulation of data that goes on at the back end of every programming language. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify and use different operators in Python. You should be able to identify and use different operators in Python. You should be able to understand the concept of expressions and the operator precedence. Okay. You should be able to perform arithmetic, comparison, assignment, and logical operations. And you should be able to understand type conversion and chaining expressions. And finally, you should be able to write programs that use operators to solve real life problems. What are operators? It is operator. An operator is a symbol that performs specific operation on one or more operands. So in between two operands or values or variables, you'll find an operator. All right. So let's take, for example, we assign a variable, we assign 10 to a variable x, and we assign 5 to a variable y. We can now use the addition operator, sum the input of x, or rather the variable x to variable y, and still assign the results to the variable z, and then we can print it. Now, in between these two variables, x and y, the thing in between them is called an operator. Y, x, and y are the operands. The operands, right? So the output of this is going to give us 15, because this is an addition operator. Okay. So there are different types of operators in Python. We're going to be looking at them. Okay. Operator types in Python. So first we have arithmetic operators. And arithmetic operators are the operators that we use to perform basic mathematical operations. Assignment operators are used to assign variables, or rather values to variables. Okay, we're going to look at what these assignment operators, how they perform, okay, using examples. Then you have comparison operators. When you want to compare two operands, then there is need for comparison operators. All right. We have logical operators that you use to check conditions. That's conditional, the conditions based on two operands. Okay, please let me let this person in. Okay. Where is she? Green Happiness, what is your name?
Ruben Chima, sir.
Eh?
Ruben Chima.
Ruben Chima, are you supposed to be in this class?
Yes, sir.
Why are you using this name to enter?
I tried using my email, but it had issues, so I had to use my mom's own.
All right. So, okay, sorry, this is not the notes we're working on. It's the notes. Okay, so we look at bitwise operators, okay, that's used to operate on binary data. Then membership operator, use it to test membership in a sequence. And then you will have identity operators that you use to compare memory location. Right. So let's look at each and every one of them. Arithmetic operation perform basic mathematical operations. And we're going to write simple program. Or rather, let's just, for time's sake, let's use this code and run it and then be giving some. Let me quickly open another system, call it d3.py. Okay, so I told us that you use the hash symbol to represent okay. Now see what happens here. We have assigned a value to the variable A and a value to the variable B. So we are looking at the different operators, different arithmetic operators. So number one is addition, that is represented with the add symbol, that's the plus symbol. And the other one is subtraction, that is represented with a dash symbol, hyphen, not an underscore. Then the multiplication operation is represented with this star, what you can find in your, what is it called? Your 8 on the keyboard. When you press Shift 8, you'll get this. Then this forward slash represents the division operator. And then we have the floor division and we have the modulus operator. Okay, then we have the exponentiation. Now, if we run this, you now see what the output will look like. Now look at addition of 9 and 4 is going to give you 13. When you subtract 4 from 9, you are going to get 5. When you multiply it, you are going to get 36. If you divide it, you are going to get this. Then this one now is floor division. What happens is that when you divide it, whatever that is on the after the decimal will be cleared out, right? That is what happens in your floor division. Then the modulus actually is what remains when you have divided A by B. Now, in this case, we have 9 divided by 4. So we are going to get 2 remainder 1. So the modulus of A and B is actually 1. And then A to the power of 9, 9 to the power of 4 is going to give you 6,561. All right. So that is it. Then there's another thing. This is actually an operator. Now, somebody will want to ask if floor division is going to give us the this stuff, the what you got after the division, excluding the decimal. What about you rounding whatever that you divided up to another, maybe if you have 2.25, how can you round it up to 3? Okay, so there's a function that you can use to do that. All right. In PHP, I think it is called CIEL. C-I-E-L. I don't know how you're going to get that in Python or even round. Okay, so this is arithmetic operators and how they are. Now, if you have an expression, okay, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's just follow the stuff. So this is arithmetic operator. But you know that in an expression, you may have these different operators in one expression. How do you know which one to work on first? Or how does the system know which one to execute first? That brings us to what is known as operator precedence, which you already know in your mathematics. But we're not going there now. We're going to come to that. Now, we've done arithmetic operators. The next thing we're going to look at is assignment operators. Now, whatever assignment operator is used to assign value to variables. All right? Now, what happens is that you can still have the different arithmetic operators in front of those, in front of the main assignment variable, assignment symbol rather. Okay. And that is what you can see here. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? What it means is that whatever be the value of X, you perform this operator, you perform the operation in front of the assignment sign on that value of X. That is what it means. And then when you have performed that operation, you also assign the value back to X. I don't know if this makes sense. Did you understand what I said in assignment operators?
Yes, sir.
Are you with
Yes,
me?
sir.
All right. So the normal assignment operator is you assigning whatever that is in the right-hand side to the variable on the left-hand side. Now, if you see an assignment operator with any of the arithmetic operator before it, what it means is that the value of that X you have, you are going to perform that operation on that value of X and then assign it back to the X. Is a kind of a shortcut for what you see here. Okay, so if X is 5 here, what it means is that you are going to say X plus 5 is going to give us 8. So you assign back the value of X here. Sorry about that. I was receiving WhatsApp call or so I had to put on my WhatsApp. All right, so we're going to look at some examples here now. Let's look at an example. Okay, this is an example. Okay. Okay, so I have x is equal 10, and then I said this. So let me now print x. Yes.
I can't see your screen.
Is it only you? Who else cannot see my screen?
I can't see your screen too.
How many persons are seeing my screen?
It's
If you can see my screen,
some.
let me know.
So I can see it. I
I'm
can
seeing
see
your
it.
screen.
I'm
I
not
can
That's
see your screen.
So I think it's probably network issue from the end of those that are not seeing. So maybe you'll meet me, then I think it may be resolved. All right. Okay, let me go back to, so x now, x is 15, all right? Okay, so x is 15 here. Now, if I change this now to minus, what is s going to be? X is 5. If I change it to /, what's going to happen? X is 2.0. And let me quickly tell us that any division operation you perform is going to land you into a float. Is that clear? If you perform
Yes, sir.
any division operation, okay, so seeing this, what it means is that 10 divided by 5 is what? 2. If you assign, you still assign 2 to x and print x. So that's why into comparison operation. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
All right. So look at this operation carefully. Now, if you want to write, if you have been paying attention to me, you will see me read this sign as is set to. So I can say that this, either you hear me say this is set to this, or this is assigned the value of this. So one single equality sign is called an assignment operator. So if you want to read this statement, or rather this expression, you are going to say x is set to the value of 10. If you want to read it, see if I can. So you are going to say that x is set to the value of, so the a set symbol is one equality sign. But if you want to perform an operation that talks about equality, okay, you are going to use double equality symbol. You are going to use double equal sign. That is what it means, is equal to. And these operators evaluate to either true or false. You need to understand that. That comparison operators evaluate to either true or false. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, if you want to say that something is not, if you want to check if something is not equal to something, we are going to use an exclamation mark before the assignment operator. Now, exclamation mark is actually used to say is used as not. It's a not symbol now. So if you add it with this, it means that this is not equal to this. All right, then you already know greater than symbol, less than symbol. If this is this less than this, is this greater than this, and is this greater than or equal to this, or less than or equal to this. So you now find examples here. That 5 equal 5. That's 5 is equal to 5 is true. The result is true. 5 is not equal to 3. The result is true. 7 is greater than 4. The result is true. 3 is less than 2. It is false. And so on and so forth. Now you may want to ask, where can I use this kind of thing? All right. You want to know where you want to use this kind of thing. Now, let's say you want to perform a login operation. Yes, you want to perform a login operation. You have already registered from the database. Now, the process of performing a login operation is that you initiate a value. You want to check something. You want to check whether the first thing you want to check is whether your email is registered with the database and your password is registered with the database. So the first operation is email registered in the database. The system is going to take the email, use it to query the database to check if there is something, there's an email like that is existing in the database. Are you getting me? Now, if an email is existing in the database with that thing, the database will return the value for that particular record. Now, that's number one. Number two now is, although this guy has succeeded, his password, his email is registered with the database, but we want to be sure that he is the owner of that email. All right. Now, how do we check that? Since the record of that email was brought up, you now check which of the records represents the password of the user. If the record comes up, you now check that password that is stored in the database, is it equal to the password that the user entered during the login operation? If it is the same thing, you now redirect the person to the page that will be opened. Is this algorithm I explained clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
one of the ways or places that you want to check this. Another place you want to check if somebody's age is less than figure, that person should join a team. If somebody's age is greater than figure, you should join a team. All right. So those are the places you can find expression of these things. So these things now, these operators, it is very, very clear, and it is very, very important that you know how and where to use them, because that is what you are going to be using to make comparison in different areas. Okay, so that is comparison operator. So we can check on your own. You can run this program and you manipulate some of these things and see how it goes. All right. Now there's logical operator. There's logical operator. Okay. In logical operator, we have 3 basic logic operations. Logical operations that we can perform. We have number 1, and. You have or and you have not. These are the basic. And every other logic operations, you can get them out of this. When you did your IFT 211, if I'm not mistaken, you did something like this, digital logic, all right? So the AND operator evaluates to true when the conditions that are being compared, when both of them evaluates to true. Now, first of all, you need to understand that this works with multiple conditions. Works with multiple conditions. For instance, if the email is true and the password is true, you can grant the person access. But if the email is true, you know, somebody can use somebody's email just like you guys submitted your emails. If I want to try to open your email from my end, it's not going to open without the password. Now, if the system is accessing the email I supplied, the thing is going to evaluate to true because your email is existing in the Gmail database. But until I understand, or rather, until I know your password, I will not be able to join, or rather, log into your account, right? So you discover that for you to establish that, you are going to use this AND operator, meaning that both the email and the password has to be true. Both of them have to be true before you can log in. Now, you have OR, meaning that at least one condition has to be true for the output to be true. Okay. Then you have NOT. So if something is true and you put NOT before that condition, it will reverse that operation. All right. Now let's quickly write let's quickly write something code to exemplify this. Okay, let's look at this. So let's say email is set to, let's just say email is set to or rather, sorry, let me make it dynamic. All right. I hope you can hear, you can. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you now see this one. What you are seeing here is mimicking what is coming from the database. Do you get it? So this one is saying is what you are going to enter. Enter your email, enter password. Then this one is what is in the database. All right. Okay. And then I now ask a question. I now write a program. I said, if, what's the first condition? If email, that's the one that the user now enters, if email is the same thing as stored email, and excuse me, and password is the same thing as stored password, what is going to happen? When I say print login successful, if it is not like that, okay, now, can you see my whole code? Let me zoom out a little. Okay, you see, this is what will happen. What is going to happen here is that when I run this program, it's going to prompt you to put your email and to put your password. Now, that thing is going to now check the email I put. If the email I put is the same thing as, assuming that this is what is coming from my database, and the password is the same thing, is going to say login successful. If any of them is correct, but the other one is not correct, it's still not going to work. Now let's run this and test it out. So I have put your email. Now let me quickly put a correct email address. Okay, I press enter, I say enter password. Then I now type something that is not correct. I press enter. It now says failed login attempt. I hope you're getting it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
If
sir.
I program, say the email, I say Izu. And the password, let me just copy this and I put it here. Press enter. It says login successful. All right, so this is a simple example. Now, when you're writing reprogram, you know that you are going to do a database call. That database call is going to bring this thing up from the database because it has been saved already. Now the comparison will start. Are you getting it? So this is one place where you can utilize this. Now, you can have a condition where you may want to do this, and a place where you can say, if not this. So that's the same way you can use each of them. Let's take, for instance, I can say, if not, let me just see if I can implement if not. Okay, if not, maybe before I implement this, I want to check if the user has entered something into the database. If the user is leaving anything blank. So I can now say, if not email, what will I say? I can say print, please fill in the email form. Are you getting me? Now, what I'm trying to simulate here is that somebody comes in and he clicks submit button without entering something into the input field. Are you getting it? Now the thing will say, no, print, please fill in the email field, rather, not email form. All right. So if I run this program, I'm supposed to put something inside the enter email. And instead of doing that, I press enter. Sorry. What's happening? What just happened now? Okay, so instead of entering something, I press enter. It brings me to the password. Now I press again. It says failed login attempts. Okay. Okay, I don't know where this problem is coming from. Okay, of course, it's look at it here. You know, because I did not encapsulate this, because this thing should not be in the same line. So if this were to be like this, you know, Python will not treat it as a block of code. So let me try to run again and see what happens. Now, there's no email. Oh my God, what's happening? Okay, there's no email, there's no password. What did he say? Is this fill? Okay. See, don't get confused with this. We have not come to this place first, but I just want to show something. So you now notice that it is no longer running this. Why it is no longer running this is that this thing depends on whether this one is working. All right. So this is how you can. So if not this, or now not password, I hope you are getting me now. Now, this is a login script. If somebody can come and put something in email and the person will forget to put something in password. We are just trying to run the whole example here now. We have used this and we have used not. Now I want to use or this. All right. So if we come to this place and we say, if not email or not password, what is going to happen? What it means is that if either of them is blank, we will not proceed. Are you getting it? Now, so if we run this program now, and there is no email, my goodness, what's happening to me? There is no email, but there is password. And the password is even a correct existing password. But with the program run, let's say enter. It says, please fill in the email field. Now, we are trying to, at this point in time, we are even doing error handling somehow. But the purpose of this area now is to teach us how to use not email, not or, and we see and here working here, and so on and so forth. So you now see a practical application where you can apply that, where you can apply logical operators. All right. Now, membership operators is used to test whether a value you are talking about or you are looking for is in a list, a string, or a tuple. All right. Now, we have shown ourselves what a list is. Now, a list is enclosed in square brackets. A tuple is enclosed in brackets like this, parentheses. And then this is also, no, actually this thing is a function anyway, but a tuple is enclosed in parentheses like this. So there's need we know that also. Okay. So we want to check, we use the membership operator to find or to check if what somebody is looking for is existing in the list or in a string or tuple. All right. Now, if what is returned from the database is placed in this format, you want to check is read, or rather, print red in colors, what is this going to give us? Let's look at it. Okay, what is going to give us is that it's red in colors. If this thing is in colors, tell us. It says yes. That is it, because in this list now, the list of colors that we have, there is red inside. So if it is not here, do something. You can add to it, or you may not be able to add to it. Now, if you have this, you can use if condition to check it. If the if condition, depending on what you want to achieve with it. So maybe you want to check if this guy can be part of the computation or whether it is not going to be part of the computation. So you are going to find out whether that thing is existing there before maybe you proceed further. Okay. So then we have identity operator, and this is true if both refer to the same object. In other words, is X Y? If X is Y, it says true. If X is not Y, depending on what you are saying, it will return false. Now look at an example. Look at an example here. We have a list that is assigned to A. And then with the same list now, we assign it to B. Now, we now say C is equal to the same number of lists. Now, if you say is A B, it says true. You know why? Because they are assigned the same object, the same location in memory. Are you getting it? They just have different names. But this one now is not the same thing as this. Are we together? This has a different memory location, and this has a different memory location. But this particular memory location is what is assigned to B. So A is B, but A is not C. I hope we understand it. Now, finally, we come to operator precedence. Operator precedence. What is operator precedence? It tells us, or rather, it guides us, guides the programming on how to, or rather, which operators to perform first before the other. Tells us which operator to perform first, operation to perform first before the other. Now, the understanding of operator precedence will make you to know how to arrange your algorithm or the model you want to perform operations on. Now, if your work is based on a particular model, what I mean by model is that there is an equation that defines the operation that you want to perform. If your work is that way, you have to know which operation to perform first, depending on you. Now, if you know the one that you have to perform first, you ensure that it follows this operator precedence so that the result that you will be getting will not be different from what you think you want to get. I hope that makes sense. Because let's take, for instance, I have something like A equals 67, B equals 45. And then I want to see A times B minus, let me just say A times B minus C. Are we getting it? This is what I want to perform. This is the operation I want to perform. Now, for me to be able to perform this operation, ordinarily, I already know, okay, there's no C here. There's no C. Let me just say C equals to 12. Okay, ordinarily, the system has to perform it using the operator precedence. But if this is not really what I want, if if this thing is like this, and I want to first of all subtract C from B before multiplying to E, if I keep this thing like this, I'm still going to get a value. I hope we are understanding. If I run this program, if I run this program like this, I'm still going to, let me quickly comment this. Okay, if I run this program, I'm still going to get a value. And what is my value? Look at it here. All right, 3,003. That is the value I got. But that's not what I want. What I want is that I have to do this one first. And then if I print again now, it's now giving me a different value. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that however you present this thing, you are going to get a value. All right. Now, if you are not conversant with operator precedence, you may erroneously think that your programming is working. Actually, because there is no visible error that is stopping the program from running. But actually, you were not able to clearly define your algorithm, your model, or you were not able to set your equation very well. So operator precedence helps us to know which operation to carry out first. And then if you don't want to carry it out as it is, then you need to use these tools to enforce what you want. Okay, just like you've seen me do here, I really want, if you remove this parentheses, if you remove the two parentheses now, it's still going to work, but that's not what I want. So for me now to do what I want, I need to enforce it by using the bracket, inputting this bracket here. In other words, or rather the parentheses, in other words, to ensure that this one evaluates first, and then the output of this one, I will now use to multiply this one in order to get my answer. So that is it about operator precedence. So in operator precedence, parenthesis comes first, then exponentiation, then you will have these ones that are in the same level. So whichever one that you perform first will still lead you to the same result. These two are also in the same level, and so on and so forth. So that's operator precedence. And with this, we come to the end of this particular class. Now you are going to go and perform this, build these assignments, and send it in before tomorrow. All right. Now, if you have any question, you may please ask before we call it a day. Do you have any question?
For the assignments, where are we going to be submitting it?
Who is asking?
I was asking about the assignments. Where are we submitting it?
I want to know who is talking now. Okay, Chinedu Onwuzo.
Yes.
All right. You are going to submit it in the chat. If you open the chat like this now, you see that the chat is taking the attendance of those that are in this class. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
If you go to the chat, you also see the video recording if you want to get it. If you cannot access it, then I can convert it to YouTube and give you the link, depending on the one you want.
Okay.
All right. So the important thing is I want you to do the assignment. I want you to do the assignment. I'm not going to grade it, but my interest is to be sure that you are putting your hands to these things. Are you getting me? And then it will help me to know those that I will sign their logbook. Yes, now, because maybe the number of persons in this call is almost the half of the persons that are that's registered for this. So I won't just sign somebody's logbook that did not attend the class. The person will prove to me that he understood Python. Then I will sign the logbook. Okay, any questions? Yes. Choma, you wanted to say something?
Not anymore, sir.
All right. Udo, you are talking.
So I'll be sending them as like screenshots. Or
How do you want to send it?
I don't know.
Okay,
So
screenshot.
another thing for me
Yes.
to, I'm using my system is spoiled, so I'm using my phone to code. So I don't know. I'm sending it to be a screenshot from my phone.